You're watching CCN, Clarksville Community Network, produced by Goodwin Productions. Powered by CDE Lightband.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Clarksville's Political Forum, brought to you by Leadership Clarksville and your Clarksville Area Chamber of Commerce. Today's forum is intended to give you, the voters, an informed choice when you go to the polls to vote in the state primary and county general elections on Thursday, August the 1st. I'm Van Stokes, your moderator for today's session, and once again, today's forum is coming to you from the Customs House Museum and Cultural Center here in Clarksville. In this session, we will have the opportunity to meet and talk with the candidates who will be on the ballot for the Tennessee House of Representatives, District Number 68. To my left, they are Mr. Joe Smith, Mr. Greg Gilman, Mr. Garfield Scott, Ms. Carol Duffin, and Mr. Aron Maberry. We will begin this session with each candidate having 2 minutes in which to present opening comments. Following this segment, we will then turn to our panelists for questions. Joining us as panelists today are Mr. J. Albertia, Ms. Lorneth Peters, and Ms. Susan Zidek. Each candidate will be given 1 minute to respond to each question from our panelists, with the first response coming in a rotating order from our candidates. Now, at the conclusion of the questioning, each candidate will then have 2 minutes in which to present closing statements. Our timekeeper for this session is Mr. Phil Harpel. The House of Representatives in the state of Tennessee is composed of 99 members who are elected to 2-year terms of office. They're elected, of course, by the voters of their House legislative district. Now, in general, the functions of the legislature are to enact, amend, and repeal the laws of Tennessee. Easily said, harder done perhaps. Some of the specific powers granted to the General Assembly by the state constitution include the appropriation of all money to be paid out of the state treasury, the levy and collection of taxes, and the right to authorize counties and incorporated towns to levy taxes. The Tennessee House of Representatives annually contends with ongoing budget issues that are affected by these times of economic uncertainty. Statewide economic growth, unemployment, safety, transportation, health care, education, and the welfare of the state of Tennessee are just a few of the areas that receive legislative attention. Now let's go to our candidates for opening comments. Once again, each candidate will have 2 minutes in which to present opening remarks. First, we will hear from Mr. Joe Smith.
Hello, Clarksville, more specifically District 68. I'm Joe Smith. Some of you may know me as a county commissioner, but more than that, I'm a family man and a small business owner. I've lived in Clarksville, Montgomery County my entire life and traced back generations all the way to the 1700s. I grew up on a small tobacco farm right out in Sango, where I learned the value of hard work and dedication to your family. Now I live in Fredonia with my lovely wife Una and our 5 kids, where we've raised them. 3 of them are already moved out of the house and living productive lives, and we're excited to see the next 2 grow up and do the same thing. It's always a blessing when you get to watch your kids graduate and move on into the world and actually become productive members of society. What I'm here today to talk to you about is how I got into politics. I ran for office in 2018 and became a county commissioner. And I feel like at first I didn't really know what I was getting into, but I realized real soon that it takes a lot of hard work and networking to be able to get the job done. So on the county commission, I'm one of 21 members, and we all work collectively to get things done, usually at the committee level, and then we bring it to the county commission full chambers, and we work with our other colleagues to get stuff passed here for Montgomery County. So when you watch those meetings, they're very civil, they're very organized, and that's how we do things in the county. Well, at the state level, it takes the same kind of dedication and hard work and the ability to network to get things done. So I'm the only one here that's a candidate who has that experience of working on those committees to get things done. And I look forward to working hard for you as the next District 68 state representative. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, we will have opening comments from Mr. Greg Gilman.
Hello, good morning. Thanks to the Chamber for inviting me and having us out here today. I appreciate it. Just a little bit about myself. I was assigned here in 1987. I was in the Army. I'm an Army aviator, or was. I served in Desert Storm with the 101st Screaming Eagles, and then later transitioned to the 160th Special Operations Regiment, where I spent several years in rotations in Iraq. After that, I retired in 2007 and then hired with a private company to continue to train Army pilots, and I've been doing that for the last 17 years. I also run 2 flight simulators at Fort Campbell. I am also a reserve deputy with the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office, which I am the director of the reserves. I've got a degree in professional aeronautics, also a master's degree in safety. To say that I've served my country and my county is an understatement. And 23 years of my life has been here in the service of our country right here in Clarksville. And the rest, is here in Clarksville as well. I'm not a politician. I'm the only one up here that has no desire to climb a ladder to the top of the political spectrum. All I want to do is change the course that Montgomery County and the state is on. We've got some issues here, and sometimes networking and politics is not getting it done. And I'm sure we'll discuss some of those issues, and I'll hit on that a little further in my closing comments. Grandfather, parent, live in Sango. We love Clarksville. So at this age, I'm stepping up to keep serving my county, my state, and my country. Thank you.
And thank you very much. Next, we'll have opening comments from Mr. Garfield Scott.
Hello, my name is Garfield Scott. Thank you, Chamber, for giving me an opportunity to be here today. I'm running for District 68. My family has been here for 3 generations. I was born and raised here in St. Bethlehem. I remember when there was only one traffic light on Guthrie Highway, which is Wilma Rudolph. She's a legend here in Clarksville when she ran traffic here. Ran track here in Clarksville when the Olympic here. And she got that pavilion down here on Riverside Drive. Everybody know Wilma Rudolph down there. But that's another thing right there. But, you know, Clarksville's got a lot of history here, just like I do, my family do. Because we got 3 generations there here. We raised tobacco here in Clarksville. My family did. We, on Warfield Boulevard, where the Pinnacle is, we used to farm right there. It used to be Wooden Farm right there. That's how much we know about Clarksville. Been here for a long time, 63 years in Clarksville. That's how much we raise cows, soybeans, and a little bit of all of it. We just need a new direction here in Clarksville. The roads and traffic here in Clarksville is awful. I mean, this infrastructure, it is awful. Everywhere you look, there's traffic. Traffic is backed up everywhere. We need a new vision, new eyes, and perspective on this traffic and stuff here in Clarksville. Everywhere you look, this traffic is backed up. If there's an accident on Interstate 24, everybody feels it. I mean, it's just traffic backed up, and we need corporate accountability. We hand money out in barrel loads of it, and we got to get new vision on everything that's going on. And I'm the man for this job right here. We need new vision and new ideas about this. Garfield Scott for 68.
Thank you very much. Next, we will have opening comments from Ms. Carol Duffin.
Thank you, Van, and thank you to the Chamber. I'm Carol Duffin, and I'm running to be the next state representative for District 68. I think I'm coming into this race with a little bit different perspective. I'm not from Clarksville, but we have lived here over 25 years, coming here initially when my husband was stationed at Fort Campbell. I have a background in business, hospitality, and tourism. Prior to coming to Clarksville, I worked in Washington, D.C. as a senior sales executive for a Fortune 500 company, where I worked primarily with the White House, Congress, U.S. Army, state governments, and the Secret Service. After my husband fulfilled his military obligation, we chose to make Clarksville our home, and we raised 3 children here and started a small business here. For 18 years, I dedicated myself to being a stay-at-home parent, but I knew I couldn't sit by the sidelines. So I became involved in the community, involved in our schools, the PTA, the PTO. I volunteered with Meals on Wheels, the Foster Care Review Board, attended school board meetings and county commission meetings. Also, I was co-chair of the Republican Party and also vice chair of the Republican Women's Club. I also have experience advocating at the Tennessee legislature just as a regular tax-paying citizen. I've filed bills, I've written legislation, I've worked with leadership and all members of the legislature, and testified before many committees. Currently, I work for an international meeting and event company where I travel all over the country. And throughout my travels, I have witnessed a common desire amongst people, the aspiration to live in a vibrant, safe community with low taxes, high-paying jobs, and excellent schools. And I want the same for the people of Clarksville.
Thank you very much. Next, we'll hear opening comments from Mr. Aron Maberry.
I just want to thank the Chamber of Commerce and Leadership of Clarksville. I am a Leadership of Clarksville class of 2024, about to be a graduate, the best class ever. And just thank you for allowing us to be here today. My name is Aron Maberry. I am a husband of my high school sweetheart of 18 years. We have 3 amazing kids, all who are still in school. My oldest is actually graduating next year. We are Clarksville natives, my wife and I. I attended East Montgomery Elementary, Clarksville High School, Richview Middle School in between, and I graduated the second class at Rossview High School. I am currently the only elected Republican on the school board, and I'm one of those elected officials that actually responds to your emails, to your texts, and your phone calls. When I get to the State House of Representatives, I'll do the same for you. I absolutely love the faith community here in Montgomery County, and I am currently the family pastor over at Mosaic Church. Mosaic is the church that helped tremendously during the tornado relief efforts for the volunteers that went out into the community, and I was one of the main coordinators in that effort. I have relationships across all of the churches in the area. I do ministry on an ongoing basis with First Baptist, Living Hope, Faith Outreach, Real Life Sango, all kinds of churches in the area, and we have those relationships. I have, for nearly 20 years, built relationships and built community, and I think that's important when you go to the State House, because you're going to need to be able to work with other people to get things accomplished, and I can do that. I'm a lifelong conservative, and I will be the conservative voice for a new generation of Republicans here in District 68. Excuse me, in District 68. And I ask for your nomination in the upcoming election. Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much to each of our candidates for your opening comments. Now let's go to our panelists who will have questions for each of our candidates. Let's begin with Mr. J. Albertia. Your question will go to Mr. Joe Smith for the first response.
Mr. Smith, I'll make this easy because I always think the first question should be easy for you. For all of you, what uniquely qualifies you to run for this office to represent the District 68, and why would I vote for you?
Well, I'll start with, I think I just kind of hit on it, my ability to network and work behind the scenes. I'm not a flashy guy, so I'm not Facebook famous or have to be on the news channels or anything like that. I'm just a regular old guy. So getting behind the scenes and working on things at the committee level is where actually most of the work happens, especially at the state level. If you watch the Tennessee General Assembly on their YouTube channel, you will understand that a lot of the work gets done at the committee level before it goes to the House floor. And that takes somebody who understands how that process works and who's willing and able to work with other conservatives to keep Tennessee a fiscally responsible state and a very conservative state. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Gilman, you have the response to the same question.
Yes. I've lived here for almost 4 decades, so I consider myself a local. And in that time, I've got to see where Clarksville has been, where they are today, and where they want to go. And I've also seen the challenges of what gets done and what doesn't get done. Now, while I'm not a politician, I certainly am politically savvy, and I have been my whole life, especially in the Republican Party. I think I possess a unique ability to navigate regulations, state and federal, which is what we need to get some things done around here. But unfortunately, it doesn't seem like it happens enough. So with your nomination and your vote, I clearly think I'm the right choice.
Mr. Scott?
Well, my perspective is I don't think things is being done. The people that's in control is not having anything done. Look at the infrastructure. The people that's in power, the super majority, they not having anything done. This infrastructure, the vision they have had, it's not anything's done. Because if they had a vision, this infrastructure would not be a problem. We need new vision. We need new eyes on this problem. And I'm the man for this job. We need new problem solvers. Right? The guys that's in control right now, they not solving the problem. And I'm the guy to try to get in there and solve the problem. We need new leadership in this problem right now. Because the guys that we want to put in there now, they're trying to go in there, we just putting the same guards right back there in place. And we don't want that. We want new vision right there. And I'm the man for that. We don't want to send the same peoples right back there.
Mrs. Duffin?
I think what uniquely qualifies me, which really shouldn't be unique, is integrity matters. Doing what's right matters. I have always, and always will, do what is right, whether the cameras are on or whether no one is looking. Secondly, as I just stated in my introduction, I know what it's like to work with the legislature. I know what it's like to be down there testifying, writing bills, working with committees, and I've done it from the backside. So I know how to work with the legislature. I know how to work with various members, leadership, and so forth. And I know the issues, and I'm well versed on the issues. So I think I'm the right candidate for this job.
Mr. Maberry?
Yes, I know how to build relationships. I know how to build community. I've been doing that for nearly 20 years. As an elected official, I've discovered that the same passion I've had in ministry that I have in representing people, my motivation is serving people. And we need somebody that'll go up there that doesn't have motivations for themselves, but motivations to help other people. And that's what I've been doing for nearly 20 years. And that's what I'll do when I represent people up there on Capitol Hill.
Thank you very much. Ms. Lorneth Peters, you have the next question, and it will go for the first response to Mr. Gilman.
Our community is one of the fastest growing in the state. With that growth comes issues related to infrastructure, such as road improvements, traffic concerns, and strains on city services. What are your plans for ensuring that as our community grows, our infrastructure can grow along with it to alleviate challenges?
Well, of course, living here for 4 decades, that question is generally the first question to be asked because in the forums of the past, because nothing happens. And the reason nothing happens is there's finger pointing between the county, the city, and the state on who's responsible for what. And then it becomes a funding issue. But the problem is TDOT has a lack of oversight. Several years have gone past where very few capital projects have been done and nobody is asking why. And typically the reason why is bureaucracy. At the local level, more can be done by asking for funds from TDOT, and I'll touch on that a little bit later. But right now, oversight is the problem. And yes, there's a lot of people, probably 1,500 to 2,000 cars a year will be coming into Montgomery County. So to say it's a crisis is not an understatement. That's the way I feel about it. The Tennessee legislature needs to provide more oversight on TDOT so they start to get some of these 904 projects that are sitting waiting done.
Mr. Scott?
Well, that's what they say. Leadership starts at the top. The transportation bills have been passed for a long period of time, and And it starts at the top from Governor Lee and the Republicans. Again, I keep just hitting on that. You know, these state roads, you know, if the city and the state would get together with TDOT and them, you know, Wilma Rudolph, Rossview Road, a lot of these roads are state roads. You know, if the city and the state would get together and work cohesively together, you know, we could solve a lot of these traffic problems, this infrastructure. But they separated. You know, if they work together, we could solve a lot of these traffic and infrastructure problems. But they seem like they working opposite of each other. And that's my if I'm in there, we can bridge that gap and work together instead of, you know, working separate. You know, they pulling apart too. If you work together, you can solve problems. This is united, but they're not united. They pulling apart from each other. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Duffin.
Yes, Clarksville continues to be one of the fastest growing cities in the state, and Tennessee continues to be one of the fastest growing states in the nation. Once I am elected, I will make a point to meet with the Transportation Committee, discuss some of the issues that we currently have with roads, infrastructure in Clarksville. I will also build a coalition of other legislators who may have many of the cities and states close to many of the roads going through their towns, and then work with the Transportation Committee, meet with the chair and the co-chair of the Transportation Committee, discuss the issues and concerns that we have and how we can be proactive in solving so many of the issues, the traffic, everything that's going on in Clarksville too. It's important to do the research, find out what's going on, find out what the concerns are with the constituents. Obviously, I-24 is a big concern to and from Nashville. I know this because I work in Nashville quite a bit. Traffic is always an issue, and I will continue to work with TDOT and the Transportation Committee to solve these issues.
Thank you. Mr. Maberry.
Yeah, our infrastructure is going to continue to be a challenge because more people are coming, if you like it or not. They're going to keep coming, and we had to solve this issue, and we need to solve it, honestly, years ago. When I get up there, I know how to build relationships again, to work with other people in the region, to create a coalition of people, to get more funding for this area. The Tennessee Modernization Act allows $750,000 per region each year. We can use some of those funds to expand our interstate, to help with our state highways that we have here in Montgomery County, and we need to work to get those things done. I called TDOT yesterday about some of our potholes in one of our state roads, and that process was a little lengthy as well. But we need to be aggressive on this because we are behind the ball. Our interstate's not going to get started in construction until 2029, and so we need to get up there and lay that groundwork right away.
And Mr. Joe Smith.
Thank you. Infrastructure is one of the biggest things I hear from people when I'm out knocking doors, but one of the things that I hear back from a lot of people that they don't know is that TDOT runs on zero debt. And so while I thank our General Assemblies of the past for keeping TDOT running on no debt, we also got to come up with outside-of-the-box ideas to remedy the situation that we have here in Montgomery County, and I know some people are seeing it down in Rutherford County and all over the state, really, is that infrastructure is important to keep everything going, not just the families getting to events on time, but also for businesses to get their products down the road faster. With that, what we have to do is get up there, find a way to fund this. So every year, Tennessee has been super fiscally responsible. We just added another $400 million to the surplus for the state. But I think some of those dollars need to be reallocated and maybe provided to the local highway department so that they can continue projects on the feeder roads that connect the state routes. That'll help improve flow when traffic is backed up on the state routes, and then we can continue the process.
Thank you very much. Ms. Susan Zidek will have the next question, and that will be responded to first by Mr. Garfield Scott.
Mr. Scott, Tennessee law currently prohibits abortions at all stages of pregnancy except in limited medical emergency situations. What's your position on the current law, and if you believe there should be changes, what changes would you propose?
Well, a woman's right is a woman's right. The law right now, the Republicans is Whew. I believe a woman's have their own right. These laws is going against the women's right. I'd say a woman should have the right to choose their own. I believe in a woman's right. I believe in a woman's right. That's just my belief. I believe if a woman chooses to have an abortion, that's her right.
Thank you very much. Ms. Duffin.
I'm definitely pro-life. I believe the Supreme Court made the correct decision giving this back to the states. The Tennessee legislature voted on the trigger law, the abortion law, and then it was modified slightly by Governor Lee. I support Tennessee's decision. I support the Supreme Court's decision on abortion.
Thank you very much. Mr. Maberry.
Yeah, I thank God that this got overturned, Roe versus Wade, on the national level and brought it back to the states. I am 100% pro-life. I disagree with Mr. Garfield. A woman does have rights, absolutely, but what about the rights of that child that's in that mother's womb? That child has rights by God, and we need to make sure we are protecting life on the senior level, on the child level, in every level. So I'm 100% pro-life.
Thank you very much. Mr. Smith.
Yes, I'd like to say that I am pro-life, and I appreciate the Supreme Court's ruling and the state's job that they've done in the past on anything dealing with abortion. Thank you.
And Mr. Gilman.
Yes, I'm pro-life, and I'd like to say our founders designed our government and our country where we have 50 states that are free to legislate the way they see fit within the Constitution. So for people that don't happen to be pro-life, there are other states and other choices you can make. I am pro-life, but the reason our country is designed the way it is and why the Supreme Court ruling was correct is so if you're not happy in the state you live in, you're free to move to another state and live the way they vote to live in that state. But again,
born and raised here.
But again, I am pro-life, and the Supreme Court ruling was a correct ruling.
Thank you very much, Mr. J. Albertia. Let's come back to you for the next question, and it will go to Ms. Carol Duffin.
Ms. Duffin, we've talked about traffic, we've talked about abortion. Let's look straight at District 68. What do you see as the top priorities, other than what we've mentioned so far, that you would like to address first for your constituents if you win?
So, great question. Aside from traffic, which we have discussed, and infrastructure, I think bringing great jobs, high-paying jobs with great benefits to our community is really important. We want families to come here, young families to come here. We want our young adults to stay in Clarksville when they graduate from high school and they choose to stay here, or graduate from college and stay here, or move to Clarksville. We want a vibrant, safe community with safe neighborhoods. We want a lot of things for these kids to do, these families to do. We want Clarksville to continue to grow, and I think it's really important that we continue to work on the state level with our city and our county officials to continue to bring great jobs, great companies here, so we will continue to prosper.
Mr. Maberry.
I absolutely agree. We here in Montgomery County have had a lot of jobs come through in the last several years, but we need high-paying jobs to come into this area for sure. Another issue I'm sure we're going to hit on is fighting for education for school choice for parental rights here in this area. The people of Montgomery County, they should be able to have their tax dollars to go to the school of their choice, absolutely for that as well. Also, we need to work with our Economic Development Committee to bring in more businesses to this area that the residents of Montgomery County are desiring, right? We want to support small business, and we also want to support getting a Costco here and other development here to this area because right now they're going to Nashville for some of those things, and so we could have it right here in Montgomery County, and we can work with them to get some of those things done for the residents of Montgomery County.
Thank you. Mr. Smith.
I appreciate all my colleagues. They've hit on some good points, and bringing jobs here is important, but taking care of the small businesses here in this town is also important. They're the backbone of our community. They're the ones who donate to all the little leagues, to all the fundraisers, all the philanthropic groups out there. They're the ones who help us thrive as a community. So taking care of them is very important. I would say my other issue would be taking care of our first responders, from law enforcement, EMS, to firefighters. We have seen a growth in Clarksville, Montgomery County that is unprecedented. And while in the city limits we have some great coverage and everything, and outside of the city limits, we are battling budgets every year at the county level to make sure that we're able to provide the services that our citizens should have. And we're working through that right now. Every single day we are trying to fund new things for our emergency medical services. We're trying to fund things for our volunteers so they have the best equipment out there. And we're trying to make sure that we have enough law enforcement to cover all three geographical sides of our county.
Thank you very much. Mr. Gilman?
Yes, as far as economic development goes, there probably isn't another city in this whole state that does it as well as we do. We have no problem getting businesses here, and my hat's off to the council and everybody that works on that. There's no question. But I think what a lot of citizens see every day and that concerns them is everywhere, every patch of ground that is open right now, there's apartments going up, there's condos going up, there's strip malls going up. And based on the infrastructure crisis we're having, they're concerned that we're not thinking right on how this needs to be laid out. We talk about zoning. When property is zoned close to, say, Rossview Road, knowing Rossview Road is going to expand in District 68, we have to look into the future. That property will have to be required, and if it's allowed to be zoned right up to where they need to buy it, in the coming years it's going to get very expensive, and I think we need to relook the building that's going on around here as how it's laid out and what it affects in the future.
Thank you. Mr. Scott?
Yes, just like Mr. Smith said, we have to look at small business. Small business is the backbone of our communities, and teachers. We have to stop beating up on our teachers. Our teachers is a great educator. Without our teachers, teachers, is the future of our, educating our children and stuff like that. That's the future of everything right there. But our zoning is just like he said, when you look at Rossview Road and out in Sango, and when they start building and let the developer is a great thing, but we got to get this infrastructure under control. When they build all the way out to the edge of the roads and things like that, where can you put a sidewalk? Where can you put the roads at? If you let the developers build all the way out to the edge of the road, you got to have a vision. You can't let the developer just build all over to the edge of the road, these apartments and stuff like that. The subdivisions, thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Peters, you have the next question, and it will go to Mr. Maberry for the first response.
Funding of education has been a challenge all around the country. What do you think are causing some of those challenges, and what solutions will you propose to help with those challenges?
Here in the last couple of years in Tennessee, we have changed over our formula to fund schools to TISA. It went from BEP to TISA. That's added an additional $30 million here locally to our Montgomery County schools. And they're actually upping it up a little bit this coming year. So funding has been increasing. We need to also look at, though, additional funds that did not get passed this year for school choice, I believe. In Montgomery County, this would be great for us. We need more options for parents to have the choice where they want to send their kids. In Montgomery County, we have great schools. We have great school choice within our schools, but it's not the choice that every parent wants to make. We have a lot of homeschoolers. We have a lot of people that would benefit from our charter school. We have a lot of people that would love to have their taxpayer dollars to be able to send their kid to the private school of their choice. And so all those things working together will help our education here in Montgomery County.
Mr. Smith?
A lot of people will talk about these dollars that come to the state and school choice. What I'd like to hit on is what hits us here at home locally, and that is having to build more schools. Since being on the county commission, I have preached about building up and building larger. We have been stagnant on building one-story schools, maybe two on some little wings of the school, and we built our school to a capacity of only 1,400 students. We need to get more creative so that we can build a school that'll hold 3,000 to 4,000 students, be multi-story. These kids will be able to walk up and down stairs, and there will be elevators provided for those who need it. But we have to do that sort of thing when we are growing at such a rapid pace. There's no way to build as many schools as are needed in the next 10 years without putting a huge burden on our local taxpayers. And the state can help with that a little bit. I think we can get up there and come up with some outside of the box ideas on how to fund this. Thank you.
Mr. Gilman.
Yes, there's no secret the school budget is the costliest budget of Clarksville, Montgomery County. It's not negotiable. We have to have schools. We're going to spend the money necessary to do it. But they're expensive, and there may have to be some sort of tax increase. We're doing a reassessment right now to fund these projects. We know how many people are coming into the county every year. We can project that out. We have to build these schools. We have no option. And sometimes it hurts to have to talk about minor tax increases, but we have to fund our schools. Now, we'll see what kind of money we can get from outside sources, but at the end of the day, their schools are a priority.
Mr. Scott.
Okay, that's a great topic right there. Bill Lee, the governor, on this voucher program that he was trying to force down everybody's throat, they shelved it this year, but take my word on it, it's going to be back again next session with the super majority. They just had $144 million in the budget that was it's just sitting there right now. See, that $144 million can be put back in the public school, but it's just sitting right there. See, that's kind of wasted money right there. It can be put in the school system right now to build schools or pay teachers right there. It's those kind of waste money that could be put in the infrastructure in these schools, build schools, to do pay teachers and things like that. But you know, stuff like that, these voucher stuff like that, this super majority, I keep harping on it. These super majorities in this Republican stuff like that is wasting time and effort and money.
Thank you very much. Ms. Duffin.
Education is one of two of the most highest expenditures in the state of Tennessee's budget. Obviously, education is important. If we don't have an educated workforce, we're not going to attract these great companies to come to Clarksville. But I think the question might be, what is adequate funding? It's always, everybody talks about we don't have enough funding for our schools. But putting more money into our schools does not equate to academic success. We need to be good stewards of the money that we currently have for education. We need checks and balances. We want to make sure that the money is not staying at the top, that it's trickled down to our teachers, to our classrooms, to our students. That's what's most important right now. In terms of building more schools, we are one of the fastest growing cities in the state, so we need to be proactive with our schools. And as Joe said, build two-story schools, build bigger schools, because we will continue to grow. But we really do need some checks and balances to ensure we are using our money properly.
Thank you very much. If you have just joined us, you are watching Clarksville's Political Forums, and we're meeting with candidates who will be on the ballot for the Tennessee House of Representatives, District number 68. Early voting for the state primary and county general elections will take place July the 12th through July the 27th. The location will be at the Election Commission office. That's at 350 Pageant Lane. Once again, state primary and county general elections day is on Thursday, August the 1st. Let's go back to our panelists for more questions. Ms. Zidek, you have the next question, and it will go to Mr. Joe Smith for the first response.
Excellent. Mr. Smith, ethics legislation has changed the way things are done on Capitol Hill. What is your position on the role of the elected official and the ethical standards to which they should adhere while in office?
I think every member of the Tennessee legislature should have integrity, moral integrity especially, and encompass a body of honesty. And I believe that happens up there. I think that in the committee levels, things get discussed. It's on camera. I'm sure there are things that are said off camera, but the majority of it is discussed right there on the floor in the committees, and then it moves to the House floor where they vote on it. So I think everything up there at the state is running well. You see our state, people are attracted to be here. That means that we are working well, passing legislation that is attracting people to want to move here.
Mr. Gilman.
Yes. I think there's a lot of things that happen that we don't know about. I think there's big money involved in politics. We know at the federal level, and certainly it is at the state level. Again, I don't know what I don't know. I'm not there. But I can certainly assume that there's a lot of preconceived ideas on legislation before it even gets to committee and doesn't really get a fair shake. I'm one for term limits in the state. I think ethics are very important, and I think term limits at the state level will help with that, so when we have people that are there a little bit too long, we can go ahead and replace them.
Mr. Scott.
I think ethics means a lot. That's what my parents taught me, you know. It's the backbone of America. You know, when you hold someone to their word, that carries a lot of weight. You know, when you can hold someone to their word, it means a lot. I mean, when you can shake someone's hand and look them in their eye and hold them to their word, that means a lot. You can look someone in their eye and hold them accountable to something, it means a lot, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. That's what my father taught me. That's what my grandfather taught me. If you can't look someone in their eye and see them and hold them accountable to something, hey, that's not a trustworthy person right there. And I'm a trustworthy person. And that's the way I want to be. And that's the way my constituents want to hold me accountable. Thank you.
Ms. Duffin.
Well, I totally agree with Garfield. And as I said in my opening statement, integrity matters. Doing what is right matters, just not when everyone's watching. Probably the most concise definition of integrity is what a person does when no one is watching. And I think people are a little frustrated with politicians who say one thing and do another. It matters. Ethics matters. Decorum matters as well. We can't just go to the legislature and say what we want and do what we want and make a scene. All of those things matter. And I will be that person. I will do what is right when I do get elected to the Tennessee legislature.
Mr. Maberry.
Ethics, integrity, character, that all matter absolutely for your elected officials. And I believe I have a track record of that in my life. And on the school board, we operate under the Sunshine Law, so we can't speak to each other. We have to do everything in the sunshine, in front of other people. And so I'm used to working like that on the local level. I believe I can go up to the next level and work with those on that level to get things accomplished. But we do need to do it with integrity, with the character, absolutely.
Thank you very much. Mr. J. Albertia, you have the next question, and it will go to Mr. Gilman for the first response.
Mr. Gilman, like with many states, there's a concern right now for undocumented immigrants moving into the state. How do you think the state legislature should address this problem if you think it's a problem?
Well, I do think it's a problem. We have limited resources. We certainly are an income tax-free state, one of three, so one of three that has the most influx of people right now. Something at the legislative level needs to be done about illegal immigration and people coming here. I know there was some legislation talked about. I don't think it passed, but it was going to, I don't know how you can make illegal immigration illegal. It's already illegal, but for some reason that seems to be a problem here in Tennessee. So the resources necessary for that are going to be difficult. We have to address where these people are going to live. They're coming here, they're being dropped off, and we have to do something as far as making it illegal for them to stay here. And we'll have to work with the federal level, although there's not much of that going on right now, but something has to be done.
Thank you very much. Mr. Scott.
Well, situation had a bill. The Republicans had a bill passed, and they shot it down. I mean, conservatives had that bill passed, and one man, shot that bill down. They told them to vote against that bill. And an Oklahoma senator brought that bill up. The conservative senator in Oklahoma brought that bill up and put it on the table up there. Conservative. And they shot that bill down and said, nope, we don't want it, because of one man said vote against that bill. What did that make sense? Why did that make sense? Tell me, why did that make sense? We had that problem solved. One man said vote against it, and everybody voted against it. All the conservative Republicans voted against it.
Thank you. Ms. Duffin.
We have a wide open border, and our current administration is not doing anything to close the border. The number one concern actually in the state of Tennessee is illegal immigration. We spend close to $1 billion just in Tennessee alone. That's healthcare, educating, various other things with the illegal immigrants. At the state legislature, we need to do something about this. Illegal immigration is illegal. It is not fair. It is not right to the people who are here, who are paying taxes. While I feel sympathetic towards the people that do want to come here, you need to come here legally and do what is right and go through the system properly, because it's not fair to the current legal immigrants, and it's also not fair to the people who have done it the correct way, who have gone through the process. So we need to address the issue not only on the federal level, but also on the state level.
Thank you. Mr. Maberry.
Yeah, this is a huge issue. We need to secure our border for sure. On the federal level, they need to get something accomplished. And this administration that we have, the Democratic administration, has made it way worse since his predecessor with President Trump. It is affecting here locally. And this is a national security issue. We don't know who's coming across that border. Actually, I'll say this. We do know who's coming across the border. And it's not just people coming from South America. They're coming from all around the world to come across that border. And there are people that are up to no good going across that border. That is affecting here in Tennessee. It is the number one concern on Tennesseans' minds. And I would be very strong that we need to secure that border. And we need to make pathways for legal immigration. I have several friends that are legal immigrants right here in Montgomery County. And they take offense to people coming across the border illegally. So we need to secure the border. We need to do what we can to de-incentivize on a law level here in the State House for those who are coming in this area, and we need to secure that border.
Thank you very much. Mr. Joe Smith.
Thank you. First, I want to say that I think we're blessed to have all of our legal immigrants here in our state. But what happens when we have undocumented illegal immigrants is it puts a burden on our entire state through the infrastructure of emergency services to the, I call it the give me systems. They give out money to illegal immigrants. And when they come across, we don't know what they're bringing into our society. The number one thing that we do know they're bringing across the border right now is fentanyl. And as a former first responder, I have seen fentanyl affect our community firsthand. I have worked calls where it's the same person over and over multiple times overdosing because of fentanyl-laced products here in our community. These things are illegal. At the state level, I'm not sure exactly what we can do just yet because it's already illegal to come across the border. What can we do here locally to enforce not incentivizing them to move to our state? That would be what I would look at.
Thank you. Ms. Peters, you have the next question, and it will go to Mr. Garfield Scott.
If elected, how do you plan to get residents of your area involved in future plans for that district?
Communicate, talk to them, invite them over. An informed community is the best community. You have to sit down and involve them, have forums. That's how you involve. You have to sit down. You have to involve people, Get them involved. That's the way I always do. Just like you go to the community, go to church, invite them in. That's the way I always done. You know, have an open dialogue with people. That's how I have done.
Ms. Duffin.
I think it's important to remember who elected you, that you're a public servant elected by the people and for the people. So it is important. Communication is important. Listening to your constituents. When they email you, respond. When they call, respond. So many times we see politicians who are out there, they're talking with people, but once they're elected, it's almost like they're hands off. I will not be that person. I think it is important to listen to what your constituents are saying, to welcome their opinions, their concerns, and their issues. Hold town hall meetings, hold meetings down at the legislature. Put them first above paid lobbyists and special interest groups. That's what I would do once I get elected.
Mr. Maberry.
I absolutely agree that you need to make sure that you are where the people are, because people out there, they shouldn't have to be coming looking for you. You should be where they're at. So I've been purposeful to make sure to attend as many events as I can. I have visited every school in my district as an elected representative on the school board, been right there with them. I've talked to teachers, I've talked to business owners, but also I've been involved with town halls. I've also been involved with larger gatherings as well. Also, my cell phone number is out there. It's on the district website for CMCSS, and it's on every piece of campaign literature. And if you need me, if you need a voice, you can reach out to me personally, talk to me. And I've had several, after going door to door, putting campaign literature out, that have reached back out to me personally. So I'll be available for anybody who needs to be reached out to.
Mr. Smith.
I think all the candidates here will agree. Communication is the number one thing. As a county commissioner, I've had the pleasure of serving District 3 in the county for going on 6 years now, and it takes involving the people. I've brought people into my home to discuss their issues. I've brought them down to my office to discuss their issues, and I've went to their homes to discuss the issues. And when we sit down and we have that very relaxed atmosphere and we discuss things, we come up with solutions, and that's how it should be done. You know, if you have a complaint or anything like that and you don't have a solution, nothing's going to get done. It's just a complaint at that point. So I think sitting down and round tabling it and getting all the ideas out there of how we can solve issues involves the community. I think the community has some of the best answers out there. But sometimes a lot of people get busy with life and you know, they're just happy going about their day, so they don't reach out to their legislator. And I encourage you to reach out to us. That is the goal of what we do. We're here to represent the people, period.
And Mr. Gilman.
Yes, this is a good topic. I've written several of my legislators throughout the years, and I get some response. Sometimes you don't get any response at all. Something that a legislator can do, which I will do when elected, is reach out to the different media personnel throughout the county and the city and just stop by and talk to them to get the message out. If there's a topic in Tennessee that you want to know about, I challenge you to get on the internet and try to go find the information through the state website where your legislator might be. To navigate bills and what's going on at the State House is extremely difficult for a regular person, even myself, to figure out, and I've spent lots of time doing it. But what's wrong with just calling up Van and saying, hey, let's stop by and have a conversation, get it on video, let everybody know what's going on today. This is what we talked about at the State House this week. This is what we're looking to do. Get a hold of me and I'll let you know. But the state legislator needs to reach out to their constituents and let them know what's going on. Don't make them have to come to you to find out what's going on.
Thank you very much. Appreciate the responses. We have time for 2 more questions. Our next question will come from Ms. Zidek, and it will go to Ms. Duffin for the first response.
Ms. Duffin, what do you believe is the most important issue on which the General Assembly should be focusing, and what would you propose to do to address that issue?
I think the most important issue that the legislature should be focused on is probably infrastructure and traffic. Again, we are one of the fastest growing cities in the state of Tennessee, but Tennessee is one of the fastest growing states. People are moving here from all over the country, and you can't blame them. We have no state income income tax. It's a great place to live. It's a great place to raise families. Our education system is great. There's so much opportunity here. So I personally would focus on infrastructure, working with the Transportation Committee, working with TDOT to see how we can, improve our roads, improve our traffic, and just improve Tennessee as a whole.
Mr. Maberry.
It's absolutely infrastructure. Our infrastructure is years behind the road, and we need to make sure we get as much funding for this local area as possible. The Tennessee Modernization Act not only gave $750,000 per region, but also there's $300 million that local county and cities can actually apply for. And we need to work with our local city and county governments to make sure that we get as much money as that pie as possible, to make sure that we have more money for Montgomery County in our infrastructure and our roads. We need to make things happen faster. That we're far behind. My whole family grew up in a small little town in Texas. My parents' family, they grew up in a small little town in Texas, and that small little town has a loop around the city. I mean, it's amazing to me we don't have that type of infrastructure where you can't get on one side of the town and get around really quickly. So we need to make sure that we're forward thinking in that. But other things, we need to make sure we have safe and secure Montgomery County, and I really believe we also need to be attacking education to bring more money and for school choice.
Mr. Smith.
Thank you. I'll agree infrastructure is one of the main things. That's going to be my biggest focus. Probably one of the only panelists up here who has sat down with Stan Williams, who's actually retiring this month, but he is our roads guy down at the RPC, the Regional Planning Commission, and MPO, Metropolitan Planning Organization. And I've read through the 2040 transportation plan. It was written several years ago. You know, we are so far behind here in Montgomery County. Since the 90s, we've been promised this Highway 374 connection getting across the river. We've been promised a lot of things, but none of it has come to fruition. You know, we were taxed on gasoline and diesel several years ago with the hopes of widening I-24. Now we're looking at that project not starting until 2029. Actually, maybe even 2034. I think right-of-way acquisition would start in 2029. Construction would not start till 2034. This is way too slow. So we have to figure out a way to remove that red tape, and I think I'm just the guy to get up there and come up with those solutions. Thank you.
Mr. Gilman.
The number one issue is the legislature has to get an overview on TDOT and the way things are done. The bureaucracy is too big. It takes too long, and we quite frankly don't know what's going on there. So let's take, for example, a project that has to have a needs survey, and there's a given time that they tell you it takes. So they say, okay, just for example, on exit 11 out here, we'll do a needs survey. All right. So as a legislator, you go back a year later, go, where are we on that needs survey? Oh, well, we haven't started it yet. Well, you've got 900 other projects going. It's busy. Well, I understand that, but you told me it was going to take 2 years to do this. Well, we'll get started next year. So now it's going to be 2 more years. The bureaucracy and the inefficiency of TDOT is what is the problem. We have some money. We just need to make sure that these projects are moving along faster than they are.
Thank you. And Mr. Scott.
Well, they keep saying infrastructure. Well, who controls that infrastructure? Who controls all this stuff? It starts at the top, doesn't it? And who controls that? That supermajority. I keep saying again, that good old boy network, the Republicans, that supermajority. And they still want to be in charge. They want to go back there again. We need fresh ideas, fresh vision. I keep saying that. We need fresh ideas, fresh vision. They want to go back there again. We don't want to send them back there. We need fresh ideas and fresh vision. We don't want to send them back up to 68. Send Garfield Scott there. We need new ideas and fresh vision because that super majority need to be broke, you guys. Send Garfield Scott there for 68, and we're going to get some new ideas up there. We're going to try to break this idea, but that super majority at the 68, starting with the 68.
Thank you. Mr. J. Albertia, you have the last question, and it will go to Mr. Maberry for the first response.
I asked the easiest question. Now it may be the hardest question. We've talked about city, county, and federal issues. We're now talking about the 68th. We're replacing probably one of the highest ranking officials we've had at the state in a long time with this election. What is your first bill that you're going to propose and file if you're elected?
Great question. First bill I would propose and file is I would definitely, something that's at the heart of my campaign and what I've been saying is to make school choice happen for Tennesseans. They want it. 68% of polled Tennesseans have decided that they would like school choice in Tennessee. 68% of people is the amount of people that drink coffee daily. So that's right. The school choice is as popular as your daily cup of joe in the morning. That's what people want. And out of Republicans, it's 85% of Republicans want school choice. We literally wrote it into the National Republican platform that we are the party of school choice. So we've had a lot of mess this year. The Senate and the House, they both passed their own version, but they didn't come together. I'm going to get up there, and I'm going to make sure we get that done so parents have their rights to use their tax dollars to send their kids to the school of their choice. I love public, private, parochial, charter school, all schools, but we're going to let them have that choice.
Thank you. Mr. Joe Smith.
Thank you. Well, we haven't prioritized ours yet on the campaign platform. What I will say is I plan to write up to get the bypass widened. Here locally, District 68 is affected on trying to get things around town, and our bypass has stayed 3 lanes for over 2 decades now with a traffic flow that is out of this world, to say the least. If you drive it every day, you'll see that traffic slows down to whether it's a stop or 15 miles an hour at any of the peak hours, whether it's the morning, noon, or evening. And I think that is one of those loops that we heard just a minute ago that would bring the Riverside District back around to the Madison Street District and to the Exit 11 area. We have 5 lanes on each end of that, but we don't have it in the middle, and that is causing a headache every single day. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Gilman.
The first bill would be one that would provide funding for county and city governments for their highway departments to use funds from TDOT to get things done around here. There are some things moving right now, but they don't go far enough. And it needs to where our highway supervisor and our city roads can identify. Just one that I saw yesterday right off of Craft Street where you turn right. It's terrible. But that's a state highway, so right now nothing is being done. There's no reason why we can't do that. So if we create an avenue for funds to get there through the legislature and use that moving forward would be the best way to do it. The second thing I would do again is form a review committee for TDOT to find out where the inefficiencies are and try to get those fixed as soon as possible.
Mr. Scott.
It's the infrastructure. This infrastructure we got is a nightmare still. We got to try to get this problem under control. Everywhere you look, from Wilmer Rudolph to Rossview Road to Tiny Town Road to Trenton Road, everywhere you look, from Riverside, just like Joe Smith was saying, this infrastructure is a nightmarish deal, and all it's doing is getting worse every day because there's so many people is moving to Montgomery County, Clarksville. We got to get this problem under control all the time. This is a great city we live in. Montgomery County, Clarksville is an amazing city. I've seen it grow from one traffic light on Guthrie Highway to look at it now. This is an amazing city. I'm witnesses. I'm 63 years. Well, I'll be almost 63 in July. I love this city. That's why I'm running for 68. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Duffin.
I'm in agreement with all the candidates here. The first bill I would file would be for state funding for our roads, infrastructure. We can expand Rossview Road, but yet we're still waiting on 24. 24, going to and from Nashville should be expanded all the way from the county line into Nashville as well. If Clarksville wants to continue to remain competitive, if we want to continue to attract big businesses here, again with high-paying jobs and great benefits, we are going to have to address this issue of traffic and roads expansions, making it easier for people to get around the city. We also need to address public transportation. Other cities have done it. We also need to do it too, and that's the first bill that I will file as well.
Thank you very much. We have now gone through 10 rounds of questions to our candidates, with each candidate having the opportunity to provide the first response to 2 of those questions. We go now to our closing comments that will be given in a reverse order from the opening comments. Each candidate, again, will have 2 minutes in which to provide closing remarks. We will hear first from Mr. Aron Maberry.
Thank you to the Chamber of Commerce and again Leadership Clarksville for providing this forum today. I absolutely love our community. I feel like we live on the best place on earth, and not just because Money Magazine told us so. I believe you can trust that I will walk in the highest integrity, and I have the track record that has always shown that. And I'll fight for conservative values in every decision that I make to represent you, the people, in District 68. See, I'm not your typical politician. In fact, I don't believe I'm a politician at all. I'm a pastor, a businessman. I'm a conservative school board member. I'm a father of 3, and I am a husband of 18 years. For nearly 20 years, I've worked to help people in their best and their worst moments. I've developed leaders, and I've brought people together. I believe I can do that on the state legislature. Now, standing at the threshold of representing District 68 in the state legislature, I'm more convinced than ever that we need unwavering dedication and leadership on the state level. And I believe I would be a great state representative representing you in District 68 and be a conservative voice for a new generation. And I ask for you to make me your nominee for the Republican Party in District 68 in the upcoming election. I ask you for your vote, and I thank you for today. I encourage you to go to votemaberry.com to get more information about me, about the campaign. You can request a sign, and you can even volunteer on the campaign. I'd love to see you do that, and I will definitely be seeing you soon on the campaign trail. God bless.
Thank you. Next, we'll hear closing comments from Ms. Carol Duffin.
Thank you, Van, and thank you again to the Chamber and to my fellow candidates. I would like the people of District 68 to know I will always remember that I'm a public servant elected by the people and for the people. There is no one that will work harder than me to represent the taxpayers of Tennessee. As I stated earlier, I know the legislative process and I know how to work to get things accomplished. I also know what it's like to be pushed to the back of the line behind paid lobbyists and special interest groups, and I will not do that to the constituents of District 68. I will fight every day to improve our roads and our traffic and ensure there is a place and plan with TDOT and that plan is followed through. As a military wife and military mother, I will continue to support our military community. I will fight for parental rights, property rights, ensuring we protect our children in school and our community, as well as protecting our Second Amendment. I will also continue to work with our local leaders in the county and the city to bring high-paying jobs with great benefits so we can continue to prosper and grow our vibrant community. And lastly, this is 2024. There are 99 members of the Tennessee House. Of those 99 members, only 12 are women. We need more of a balance at the state capitol. Men and women think differently. We bring different perspectives. Not that one is right or one is wrong. We're just different. So I ask you for your vote. Please visit my website at carolforclarksville.com. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we'll have closing comments from Mr. Garfield Scott.
Thank you, Chamber, for giving me an opportunity to be here today. My name is Garfield Scott. We're a representative for 68. Our platform is changing Clarksville as I know it. I've been here for 3 generations. My website is Garfield Scott for Tennessee 68. I've been here for 3 generations, and here's what I want. I've been traveling Tennessee and all over the United States for almost 40 years. I've logged almost 7 million miles traveling all over the United States. That's a lot of miles, 7 million miles. You know, from here to the moon, I think it's almost 240,000 miles. Kind of put that in perspective. I've seen these roads around here. I've seen good roads in Tennessee. I've seen bad roads in Tennessee. And we got some bad roads in Tennessee. I saw these roads when they was in good roads in Tennessee. And man, let me tell you, we got some bad roads in Tennessee right now. I mean, now we just got patchwork. They go out here at nighttime and put patchworks in these potholes and things right there. We got to get some better ideas up there at the legislature. And I'm the man for that job. These schools, I mean, they assaulting the teachers all the time. I mean, they assaulted the teachers every time you turn around. Think about that. They want to arm teachers. Our teachers are there to teach, not to carry guns. Why do you want to put guns in teachers' hands? They're there to educate, not to teach, to arm. You know, I mean, that is one of the wildest things I've ever saw or heard of. But that's what that supermajority wants to do, arm teachers. We want to educate, not to put guns in teachers' hands. That supermajority, that ideal is on the shelf for right now, but they're going to bring that ideal back next season, next session. I mean, my name is Garfield Scott. My website is, let me get my eyes on here, www.Garfield Scott for Tennessee 68, and I'm on Facebook and Instagram.
Thank you.
Vote for me, 68.
Thank you very much for those closing remarks. Next, we'll hear closing comments. We'll hear closing comments next from Mr. Greg Gilman.
There are 66,000 people in District 3, give or take. I want to thank my opponents for stepping up. I don't think that the citizenry gets involved enough in their civic duty as they should. We need to be teaching our children about the process, what great things about this country got us to where we are, and it's admirable that out of that many people, it's just us 5 sitting up here right now, and sometimes much less than that. Thank the Chamber for inviting me, the great questions, but with all due respect, 1 minute isn't enough to answer these complicated subjects. You can reach out to me anytime on the website or my phone number. I'd be glad to come by and talk to you. I can explain in much more depth the solutions to these problems. But let's role play here for just a minute. So we've got the speaker sitting right here. We're the committee for TDOT, or the legislative committee to provide funding. So we all sat here today and said, boy, the infrastructure is terrible around here and it's been this way for a while. All right, well, why don't we go ahead and put a bill out there that provides funding for the county and the city. Go ahead and fix these roads and we'll just reimburse them. Okay, I think you're all in agreement. Speaker, bang the gavel, out it goes, bring it to a floor, vote. How about that? Just a bunch of citizens here got some legislation passed and it didn't take all that much work. It really is that simple. I'm not a politician, but I am the clear choice to get this done. So please, make me your nominee. Thank you very much. Vote for Greg Gilman.
Thank you. And we will hear final closing remarks from Mr. Joe Smith.
Well, thank the Chamber. Thank you to the panel of questioners over here. You had some really good questions for us today. I just want to touch on why I'm so passionate about so many of these issues. As a Marine Corps veteran, I am very passionate about our military and the staple that Fort Campbell holds right here in Montgomery County. As a former first responder, I'm passionate about all of our emergency services, whether it's EMS, fire, police, sheriff. They're all a big part of my heart because I've worked hand in hand with them. And as a small business owner, I know how important small business is right here in our community. I kind of hit on that a little bit earlier. They're the ones that are the backbone of this community when it comes to all of our nonprofits and philanthropic endeavors happen here. It's because small businesses fund, sponsor, and donate to those causes. And Clarksville is the absolute best place to live. Hands down, across the state of Tennessee, we are just the best. Sorry, it's just the way it is. Do we have our issues? Yes. We have infrastructure that needs to be taken care of. We have schools that need to be built because of growth. But we also are just a phenomenal community. We have the best citizens. I would put it like this. If you're looking out there and you're looking for a place to raise a family, Clarksville is the place to do it. And I'm proud to have raised mine here and actually be a product of people who've raised family here since 1790s. But what I'm asking you to do is elect somebody with the experience and the ability and the hard work ethic to get the job done. And that's why I'm your guy. So I hope you'll vote for me come August 1st, 2024 in the primary or during early voting in July. And if you want more information or to reach out to me and sit down and have a discussion, go to joeformoco.com, put in your info, or you can just call me. My phone number's listed on the website. If not, I'll give it to you right now. I've had the same number for over 25 years. It's 931-320-4289. If I don't answer, just send me a text. I'll get back to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I want to say thank you to each of our candidates who will be in the ballot for the Tennessee House of Representatives, District number 68, Mr. Joe Smith, Mr. Greg Gilman, Mr. Garfield Scott, Ms. Carol Duffin, and Mr. Aron Maberry. Thank you very, very much for your willingness to not only be here today, but deep appreciation for being willing to serve this district in the Tennessee House of Representatives and for sharing your thoughts and your ideas with us today. Remember, the Tennessee House of Representatives is composed of 99 members who are elected to a 2-year term of office by the voters of the respective House legislative district. Remember also, early voting for the state primary and general county elections will take place July the 12th through the 27th. The location will be at the Election Commission office at 350 Pageant Lane. Once again, state primary and county general elections day is on Thursday, August the 1st. I want to say thank you as well to our panelists, Mr. J. Albertia, Ms. Lorneth Peters, and Ms. Susan Zidek. Thank you very much for your questions today. Very thoughtful, very insightful responses as well. And thank you also to the staff here at the Customs House Museum and Cultural Center for hosting today's forum. And thanks also to Leadership Clarksville and your Clarksville Area Chamber of Commerce and to Rick Goodwin Productions for making this forum possible. Until next time, I'm Van Stokes saying thank you for watching.
For current and exclusive content, subscribe to CDE Lightband, connecting you at the speed of light.